Governor has sanctioned his prosecution over the alleged irregularities in the site allotment by the Mysuru Urban Development Authority. Over the weekend, the BJP has escalated their campaign against the Chief Minister and his government. The Governor of the state, Thawaar Chand Gehlot, has sanctioned the Lokayukta to prosecute Siddaramaiah based on the petitions by 3 activists. Karnataka's BJP, the governor, streets and protest today to drive home their respective points. Even as the political heat is rising, the Karnataka High Court has granted some relief to the Karnataka Chief Minister. The court has ordered deferment of proceedings. These allegations against the Karnataka CM, they are now centering around the Mysuru Urban Development Authority and claims of malpractices that surround the multiple, which has prompted this prosecution sanction. Here's also a look at these allegations which he's currently facing. The first and foremost charge is that there's been an allotment of 14 sites in the Mysuru case to his the two Chief Minister's wife, which have been, of course, declared as illegal. The second is multiple of the parts where it's the land value. The third charge is that there's been a misuse of power and forgery of documents for land. And the fourth charge is that there's been no mention of the land ownership in the election affidavit. And that certainly has got tongues wagging within the opposition BJP. And so on the MUDA scam, which has now tainted the CM's image, the question we are asking today, is Karnataka's Chief Minister completely cornered?
ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಜೀವನ ತೆರೆದ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಇದ್ದಾಗೆ ಈ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೇ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ.
ने अभी परमिशन दे दिया प्रोसिक्यूशन के लिए. अभी जो भी है कानून लड़ाई करेंगे, देखेंगे कोर्ट में क्या होता है, वेट करेंगे.
That time also they given permission to the prosecution for the Yadurappa, but our party that time
Alright, on that note, let me introduce our esteemed panelists today. I'm joined in by Mr. Narendra Rangappa, who is a spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party, Bhavya Narasimha Murthy, who is also the spokesperson for the Congress Party, and I'd like to, in fact, pose my question to Bhavya first. Bhavya, the big question that's being posed also by the BJP in the opposition is that if Siddaramaiah claims that there has been no black mark in his performance and in all these years of administration, why wasn't the property mentioned in the election?
So first of all, there was a statement made by Mr. Ashok right now. The opposition leader, he's been so irresponsible in making statements. He actually said after the governor gave permission for Yadurappa, their party guided him to resign, right? Was 21st 11. That too after Lokayukta filed for the permission with 1,600 pages of strong evidence with the governor. But then Yadurappa resigned only on August 4th, 2011, after the law that they investigated proved the issues and blamed Yadurappa for that. So there was like 8 months difference where the investigation happened. resign. But how can an opposition leader arrest? And in fact, the same Mr. Ashok had spoken against it when we asked for Yadurappa's resignation. He was actually against it just before he
I'm
resigned.
going to take that question, but Bhavya, you've still not answered the question. If he's had such a spotless, record, Bhavya, then why shouldn't the Karnataka CM, who is currently under the scanner, why aren't you addressing the question that I have posed, which is in terms of why was there an absence of the mention of these properties from the election?
You know, this was from CM's wife's brother to her. And only in 2021, that too under BJP government, this was allotted to her. Right? There is and how can someone actually blame the opposition leader when they were in power for the allotment of this for this land? You really see any merit at all in this? Or do you just see the misuse of the position of governor?
R.K. Upadhyay wants to make a... Mr. Upadhyay, before I come to you, Narendra Rangappa, what would you like to say? Because, you know, the big defense that's been coming in from the Congress party ever since the scam came to the forefront is that it was sanctioned, these land allotments were sanctioned under your government. Whether or not the need to prosecute is something I will be deep diving with Mr. Upadhyay as well. But Mr. Rangappa, I'd like your thoughts.
See, in 2010, she gets a gift deed. Before that, they convert the land in 2004. Okay. But in 1998 to 2000, lands are allotted, the area is developed. On what basis did the Deputy Commissioner say this is an agriculture land which can be converted to a residential plot? Number one. Number two, in 2013, after receiving the gift deed, 3 years after receiving the gift deed, Mr. Siddaramaiah says that he has not disclosed it in his election affidavit. Then again in 2014, after he becomes the Chief Minister, he claims compensation. And in 2017, the Urban Development Act of Karnataka is amended, where the amendment says that whenever there is a legal compensation, or a compensatory mechanism or legal compensatory mechanism, everything did not come to the government or the cabinet or the chief minister. It can be solved at the local level or in the urban bodies. That is the MUDA in this case, where the board will sit, they'll discuss and they will take
Mr. Rangappa, the big charge coming in from the Congress.
One more sentence. And when this is the law in 23, Mr. Rajiv, the MUDA chairman, Mr. Ratindra, the board member, the leader of opposition, Mr. Siddaramaiah, his wife's case is decided in the MUDA board, not in the table of cabinet minister for urban development or the CM. This is very clear. Why is the Congress not highlighting that?
No, because they are saying that you waited it out. Mr. Rangappa, the Congress argument is that you waited it out for him to become CM, and in fact, it's not just a Congress argument. This is what Abhishek Singhvi had to say today in the court.
Got the land in
that you actually
got the land in 23.
This complaints only born out of the fact that now Siddaramaiah is the Chief Minister and that no other public servant has been highlighted in this complaint, and which is why they come to this conclusion that this is a political vendetta.
See, I have made my point clear. At no point of time has any cabinet minister or the chief minister has signed sanction of the compensatory sites to Srimati Parvati Siddaramaiah. It is the stooges who concocted and played this part, and after the election, all these people who were included are under his protection, including
Mr.
the chairman.
How do you assess what Mr. Rangappa has just now said? Because the fact of the matter is that it is also what is also being discussed right now is the need to prosecute just yet. Why was the cabinet not included in that decision by the governor is also the other big burning question.
Akanksha, before answering the question, I would like to point out why Siddaramaiah was not able to file it in the election petition the details of his wife's assets. He, in fact, later said that, he forgot about it. which is not an excuse at all. Because in the election affidavit, you have to mention not only your properties, but the family members' properties as well. So anyway, that was 2013, he forgot, and then later on it came on board. But the fact is that the governor has taken action based on his own judgment. It is not just the cabinet, the note that has been sent to him. He has given a, show cause notice based on his own assessment. And in fact, in his order, he makes it very clear that, he has, made this order under Section 17A of the Prevention of Corruption Act. So there he has the power, and also the 218 of the BNSS. So he has also quoted the Supreme Court's 5-judge bench judgment, where they upheld the governor's power to prosecute the chief minister.
No, but at the same time, they have also alluded to the landmark judgment of Shamsher Singh versus the state of Punjab back in the year 1974, where the Supreme Court has clearly ruled out that the governor has limited powers and it can only happen in terms of a constitutional crisis, which is not the case over here.
Well, but the fact of the matter is, this was discussed today at the, I was watching the live streaming of the High Court proceedings, where the Solicitor General also brought up this matter, and the judge seriously took note of that. Justice Naga Prasanna took note of this. So, of course, the whole, the argument has been postponed to 29th, and Manu Singhi pressed for, interim stay, which was not given by the High Court. Which means, this drags on for another, 10 days. But in the meanwhile, look at what is happening across the state. The Congress workers have gone on the rampage, and they're burning and, putting sleepers on the photograph of the governor. Is it what is expected in a, in a civilized society? I mean, the Chief Minister's administration is silent about what's happening to the, the way the governor is being treated. Just because they're given some order, which is not liked by the government, can the ruling party go ahead with this kind of a mayhem? Why isn't there any condemnation? Why isn't the police taking any action against all these people?
Bhavya, I'd like to bring you in on this. You just heard what Mr. Upadhyay is saying, because even if the cabinet was not consulted, that's no rhyme or reason for the governor to be disrespected in such a way. The fact of the matter also remains, we are talking at a time and there's already a scam where, as far as the Valmiki board scam is concerned, there's cash for posting scam, plastic recycling scam, Karnataka state health habitat scam. Well, the list is out here with me.
And I don't understand why someone as a journalist has a problem with that. And here we have
a difference. The governor? Can you do it against the governor?
Has used his constitutional position. He has misused his constitutional position in giving his permission.
That has to be decided.
The problem here is he hasn't followed. We are not saying he should have waited for the cabinet nod. Yes, governor in some cases has his discretion, but he has to follow the rules according to Prevention of Corruption Act, Section 17. They were supposed to go through a police or through the High Court only.
Who says so?
How can the governor just take cognizance of any person's complaint and
you're making a wrong interpretation, ma'am.
Authority?
All right, I
see.
Making
a wrong interpretation.
I see Mr. Rangappa wants to make a point. Mr. Rangappa, what is it that you want to state over there with those papers?
See, Article 163 is very clear about the role of the governor. This is again held up by the verdict by in the case of Dr. Swamy versus Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2012. He says, quote, only thing that competent authority is required to see is whether the material placed by the complainant or agency prima facie discloses commission of an offence. Supreme Court order. What do you mean government can't give a permission?
Bhavya, do you have anything to say to that?
17A was amended, or I think was made by your own.
And what does 17A say, madam?
September 2021.
Can I ask
so
my panelists,
your own government's law,
what does 17A say?
The law that your own government
Madam,
made.
I would like to counter
the governor
question.
who is acting like your agent
Can you say what 17A says?
September 2021, and you are just
what does 17A say? Can you enumerate?
Your own agent. He's just become an agent of BJP party. All
You are making false, baseless
allegiance to the Constitution of India.
You are making false and baseless allegations. These are desperate allegations.
The governor using his discretion.
This shows the desperation.
If only the governor had followed
that Mr. Siddaramaiah is going to be in trouble very soon. I would like to question my counterpart. What does 17A say, madam?
It says that prima facie, there should be some merit in it, and prima facie it should look like, the person involved, whoever against whom the allegation is there should be some merit in it, right? And the permission will be given to a police officer, a competent authority.
No. I just read out the Supreme Court order. I just read out the Supreme Court order.
17A section. You tell me.
Complainant.
So according to your convenience, you're going to use anything that you want.
Is just a permission
so your own
to
party
grant
makes rules
inquiry.
This is not prosecution. Exactly, the governor.
All right, I'd like to, in fact, Mr. Rangappa, I have a question. In his petition, Siddaramaiah has said that this is clearly an attempt to the Karnataka government of a complainant who himself is a blackmailer. Clearly, we all know that the person he is referring to is T.J. Abrams. I'd like your thoughts.
Madam, I can show you clips where Mr. Siddaramaiah has praised the same Abraham, saying that he is the angel of truth. Same Abraham, same Siddaramaiah in 22. See, when Siddaramaiah is not involved, everything is wrong. He went on to say Mr. Yadurappa should resign on moral grounds. What morality has he got now? Should he not resign by himself?
Bhavya, this has been noticed and observed time and again about the Congress party, not just in Karnataka, but overall we've seen how there's a selective, opposition, and whenever there's a person who dares to question the governance, that's when they become turncoats, they become blackmailers.
Until 2011, and where Yadurappa was arrested, we all thought Yadurappa was a great activist, right? But only later we realized that what he was, the same thing with this Abraham. He's a of truth. That doesn't mean
they said his confinement was wrong.
There are many
cases where he has
been a blackmailer.
Supreme Court has given a judgment in Yadurappa case. Yadurappa case, Supreme Court has given a judgment saying that his confinement was wrong.
No.
The thing here, governor gave the permission only after Lokayukta filed a case with strong evidence of 1,600
What did the
pages.
Supreme Court say?
Now tell me on what merit did this
What
governor
did the Supreme Court say? What did the Supreme Court say against
Yadurappa? The governor
Yadurappa?
did not give
They said the whole
permission to prosecute Kumar Swamy. Prosecute Murugesh Nirani, to prosecute the Janardhan Reddy. When Lokayukta asked for permission, these governors did not give the permission. But now a private citizen gives a complaint and the governor will just give a permission. Why didn't the governor give the permission to all these things when there was a
Alright, Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, I have to there's an unbased exercise by the governor, because this is what Siddaramaiah's petition also says, that there was no verification, whether in terms of genuinity, in terms of the to at the best of T.J. Abrams.
No, in fact, this matter came up in the High Court today when Manoj Singhvi pointed out that Shashikala, in case of Shashikala Jille and Nirani, the governor has not given the permission and it's pending. which was challenged by the Solicitor General. He said no filing the government. I mean, Solicitor General wouldn't be saying something like that unless it's a fact. So, this is being peddled around, saying that there are other, people's cases which is, the governor is not elected on. So, this information going around, and I think only the court will be able to go into all this.
Right, but don't you think, Mr. Upadhyay, this is also becoming about the governor versus the judiciary? Right, but let me quote. Bhavya, I'm going to come to you. Let me make a point over here, Mr. Upadhyay. Please, I'll appreciate. Let me moderate this debate because that's my job. And Mr. Upadhyay, don't you think that this is now becoming about the governor versus the judiciary? Because this is what Tushar Mehta had to say. He said that governor is a constitutional authority, has passed an order, and any injunction or stay on it by another constitutional authority or directly not, which also goes to indicate that you are also challenging the authority of the judiciary.
No, I don't think so, because see, now this... The court, can definitely take a view on this and, pass the order. So I don't think, the High Court will be circumscribed by whatever the Solicitor General is saying. And there have been multiple cases where, the governor's action has been overturned. And, he take a view on that. Based on the material that is before him.
All right, I'm afraid I'm running short of time. We'll have to leave it at that. Many thanks to you, Mr. Narendra Rangappa, Bhavya, and of course, Mr. R.K. Upadhyay for joining in with those precious